I feel good about our spot because Karn the Great Creator makes everything fantastic. And another Blood Moon. I mean, luckily, Karn does not care about Blood Moon. So, hello, guys. Before we jump into this league, there's something I need to address, and that is that there was a bit of a mistruth in my most recent league entitled, What Does Dominaria United Add to Amulet? In which I posited that the set adds nothing to Amulet. And of course, the commenters immediately corrected my error. You'll notice that user Nathan Barry suggested the addition of the card Karn's Silex to the sideboard of Karn Amulet, and this was seconded by Doogie Dog 7 as well. Of course, this is a card that I had thought about when I saw the set spoiled, but in the making of this video, I completely neglected to address that card was potentially an option for Karn Amulet, and so I'm going to be making up for that today in the most boisterous way, and that, of course, is by playing a full league with Karn Amulet. It's been a while since Karn has made an appearance, and what better way to play Karn than when we have Karn's Silex printed? For those of you who are not familiar with this card, it is a 3-mana legendary artifact that enters tapped. What a joke with Amulet, am I right? And it says, players can't pay life to cast spells or to activate abilities that aren't mana abilities. And then you can pay X and tap it and exile it to destroy each non-land permanent with a cost of X or less. Of course, you can only activate that as a sorcery, which I think that we'll find will be quite a big downside, not being able to instant speed activate Silex. But there are some additional benefits from this card other than the pseudo-engineered explosives moment. It's that this card also happens to hate on very random things like fetch lands and Yawgmoth activations, as well as just being an overall good card. It's kind of similar to me in style to Oblivion Stone, but this is an Oblivion Stone that happens to hate on one of our bad matchups in Yawgmoth. So we are going to give Karn Silex a try in the sideboard here, and the way that we're making room for our Karn the Great Creators is you'll notice we are not playing any copies of Cultivator Colossus, a card that I've greatly come to dislike over the last couple leagues that I've played. Just in general, I've found the card to be lackluster, especially against Dress Down, which is, again, increasing in popularity. And we've also cut 2 copies of Explore in order to make room, as if we're playing a bunch of clunky 4-drops, we can't be playing a bunch of clunky 2-drops at the same time. Of course, a couple of Explorers is nice because it will let us get a turn 3 Karn pretty consistently, but I think Explorer is the most obvious thing to cut. And then we've also made the switch from the 2 Castle Garandrigs that usually would be played into an additional bounce land in the form of the 2nd Gruul Turf and the 4th Karn the Great Creator, as I think that, especially in a list with Karn, the addition of Castle Garandrig doesn't play particularly well. We are still playing one mainboard Bojuka Bog, despite the fact that we have Karn for Tormod's Crypt in the sideboard, just because being able to fetch Bog off of a Titan trigger, or be able to search for the Bog with Expedition Map, those can be very useful plays, and so I definitely want access to the Bog. It was either going to be in the sideboard or in the main, and I decided to just include it. Then, moving to the sideboard, where we have some more interesting zones, we have the 4th Cavern of Souls for the counterspell matchups. We have the 2nd Boseiju for mainly the Hammer Time matchups, but like Tron, for example, is another place where we want Boseiju, the Amulet Mirror, for example, but primarily Hammer and Tron. We have a couple copies of Endurance, as we are also playing a couple copies of Relic, which I'll talk about in a second, and we also have mainboard Bog, so not as high in need for these graveyard hate effects. We have the full 3 Force of Vigors, as this is the sort of effect that we need to make sure we're winning the Amulet and Hammer matchups with consistency. Of course, with the addition of Karn, perhaps the 3rd Force is not necessary, so we'll see how we feel about that going forward, especially since we have fewer green cards to be able to pitch cast to Force, so that's something to be looking out for. And then 2 copies of Relic of Progenitus in our quote-unquote real sideboard cards stack, mainly because I'm expecting to be boarding out Relic, or to be boarding in Relic against a lot of our graveyard-based matchups, but of course having Relic in the sideboard plays extremely nicely with Karn, and so hopefully we'll see that come up. And it exiles itself, so you can Karn minus for a Relic if you really want to, although we have 2 copies. But like if we were to have 1 Relic side, 1 main, and keep our Karns in game 2 and 3, we could minus for the Relic from the side, pop it, and then be able to minus for it again, since Karn will get things out of exile. And then for our Karn package, we are, of course, playing Karn Silex, but in addition to that, we've got Tormod's Crypt as a way to hate on graveyard shenanigans as soon as Karn comes down. Let's say we have the turn 3 Karn into Tormod's Crypt against Dredge, for example, or to be able to immediately stop a Murktide Regent from happening and ruining our day. Crypt can be good for that as well, if we don't have the mana for Relic, that is, the 1 to play and 1 to pop it. So it's a full 2 additional mana for Relic versus Crypt. We have 1 copy of Pithing Needle to be able to deactivate our opponent's Planeswalkers. So this is primarily going to be helping us in the Wrenn and 6 matchups, just in general, like 4-color control. We have Liquid Metal Coating, of course, to do the landlock thing. We have 1 copy of Sky Sovereign Console Flagship. Not only is this an answer to Mages of the Moon, but it also gives us an additional threat. We can minus Karn for Sky Sovereign and play it and deal with something, and then Karn can plus on our Sky Sovereign to start attacking for 5 every turn, which is no joke. And so being able to minus for a threat, I think, is important. And then we have 1 copy of Walking Ballista, again, for those Mages matchups primarily. But Ballista can also be good at taking out very small creatures. It's not as much of a threat as Sky Sovereign is, so I decided to include the Sky Sovereign as a threat and Ballista as a toolbox card. I think having access to these 6 makes sense. The one card that is notoriously absent from our Karn board is Engineered Explosives, and that's because I've cut the Explosives to try Karn Silex instead. So we'll be evaluating as we play whether or not the Explosives or Silex is better, and yeah, I feel like that's way too much talking when you guys want to see the league. So without further ado, I'll see you guys in match 1. Alrighty, we have been paired for match 1 against Titasun. I don't know. This is an interesting hand. We have turn 1 Amulet, turn 2 3-drop if we draw it, or if we draw a Grazer, this would be a turn 2 Karn, thanks to the Amulet and bounce land. I mean, we definitely would like to top deck either a land or any ramp spell, but I mean, considering that's a pretty broad scope of things, I think we're definitely keeping. And I guess it's probably correct to put Cavern on Beast here so that we can top deck Grazer and have the turn 2 Karn. It'll be awkward if our turn 1 Amulet gets Prismatic Endinged, but I mean, we can't just assume our opponent's playing Prismatic Ending, so we'll keep for sure. We see Malakir Mire. Interesting. So this is going to be... So this could technically be a Oops All Spells style deck where all of their lands are these flip lands, or this could just be like a black-red scam, quote-unquote, deck. If you don't know the meme, then look it up. But like a black-red Undying kind of strategy with a Rebirth to put their creatures back into play. Here, we're definitely going to be naming Beast so we can pick up a Grazer and be able to cast this Karn, potentially. And we're going to play our Amulet out before it gets discarded by a Grief or something, so... If they didn't have any untapped black sources, they might have played Mire first, so they could on turn 2 play Grief and then Undying it. Never know. Or they could just be fetching a Godless Shrine and playing a Stoneforge Mystic or Blood Crypt. So this is the black-red version. Knight's Whisper to have them draw 2 cards and lose 2 life. I mean, if they're on this kind of slow plan, then I feel pretty good about this. Well, packing for Zusa and playing a Zusa into Karn leaves us dead to our Summoner's Pact. I don't love. I guess we Growth Chamber and Explore here and see if we hit a Grazer, because if we do, then we can play Karn here. Although, I'm not sure that playing Karn is the best option here. We'll see. Definitely Explore. Basic Forest. So, I mean, I guess we're playing Forest and then Karn next turn. I mean, we could also double Pact and just get Titan into play next turn. 4, 5, 6, Titan. That would be interesting, but we'd probably just die to our double Pact. So, probably not necessary to do that, but... I mean, it is possible, and our opponent's just holding up Terminate mana, which makes it even more likely that double Pacting is not going to be the play here, so... The problem is if we play Karn, we're not going to be able to play Titan next turn unless we double Pact. We could just play Forest and pass, since they're not really clocking us. Honestly, I don't hate that, because... And then next turn we can play Valakut Karn, and the turn after just play Growth Chamber into Titan, or, depending on what they do, we could just slam Titan this upcoming turn with only a single Pact. As much as I want to play Karn here, I feel like it's probably not accurate. I think I'll play the Forest and pass. Definitely a debatable choice, but... I mean, if our opponent's not doing anything, there's no real reason for us to put ourselves back on mana just to get a Karn into play. Like, what is our Karn even doing at this point? I guess we could get Silex, just so they can't have another Polluted Delta / other fetch activation. But then we'd have to, like, wait a turn before we can even play the Silex, so, like... I guess going for coding is kind of interesting as well. They fetch Shock. It's hard cast a Grief or something. Yep. Well, they can... we have plenty of threats. We're about to just cast Karn, I guess. I guess if we cast Karn into the Grief, then we just lose the Karn after we minus for whatever we get. Which might be okay, because just like getting Sky Sovereign against this Grief is kind of legit. They probably have to take Titan here, I think. I'm kind of down to get Sky Sovereign off this Karn minus. They take the Karn, so they're just letting a Titan happen, huh? I mean, yeah, we're going to make a Titan happen. So we'll do it off of Azusa here, because I'm not expecting them to have 0 mana removal spell. And having more mana next, upcoming will be a good thing to have access to. So play our Azusa, play bounce land, Titan, haste attack, etc., etc. Our opponent appears to be F6, so I mean, unless they're also playing white and have Solitude here, I think we're probably pretty good. Probably want to keep bounce land in hand here, although we can pick up the Boros Garrison, so I suppose we'll leave the green mana in play. Say yes to this one. So we'll get Slayer Stronghold and Boros. Being a little laggy. It's all good. Yeah, I think they had to take Titan here, because just being able to pack one time and get a Titan into play is just too free. Definitely keep bounce land in hand. Go to combat, attack. Yep. And now what do we set up? I mean, we have double threat coming up. I guess we just want to make sure we're not losing to something. I don't think there's really anything for us to play around here. I guess they could have removal spell, double discard spell, in which case having a Tolaria West in play makes sense. So we'll get Tolaria West and perhaps Boseiju? Bajuka Bog, even? A green source seems good, so they can't just, I don't know, Stone Rain us out of the game or something. I might be playing around too much, but I'll just get a forest. I feel like we're in good shape if we just don't lose, so... hey, I guess in this case, Karn did a lot of work because our opponent decided to just completely ignore the threat of Primeval Titan to take Karn out of our hand. I'm not really sure what about Karn was making them so scared, but... Oh no, we're taking 3 damage. Oh no, they bolted our Azusa so we can't block the Grief with Menace. They're gonna see our hand again? I mean, if they had the Undying here and then also, had a way to kill our Titan, and even then we still have Tolaria West for backup, so... Yeah, let's not lose the game. I think that's a good idea. We can actually, if we draw an Azusa or a Titan here, we can pact for the missing piece and just cast a second Titan. Oh, Dryad is pretty good. Yeah, they're probably just dead to Dryad, assuming they don't kill a Titan. Even if they do kill the Titan, we're killing their Grief with this Dryad, so... Definitely shooting the Grief here as opposed to anything else, since they probably will have removal spell for Titan, and they just scoop it up. Okay. I don't really know why they took the Karn, but I'll take it, Alright, so in this matchup, Karn seems pretty good against their potential, Blood Moons and stuff. Relic is good against their Undying shenanigans. And we can put it into play and then cycle it when we want to if they do have the Grief combo, so I feel like Relic is pretty okay. Endurance... it's fine. Pitching 2 cards to make sure they don't get back Grief seems, counterintuitive, so... Boseiju's pretty free, the Cavern's pretty bad. I think we like Karn here. Explorer is good, drawing us out of them just locking us out with, them discarding on us. Bog doesn't really do anything unless it was at instant speed, but even then, I don't know how good it would be. You could trim a Saga against potential moon effects like Alpine or Blood Moon. I think we just call it a day there. And we can always minus Karn for Tormod's Crypt to be able to play around them having the Undying on a Grief or something, so this hand is just going to straight up fold to, discard spell, but, I think we're supposed to keep it. If we top deck any ramp, it's quite good. A turn 2 3-drop, for example. We could even pact for an Azusa and just, play out a bunch of lands and just have a turn 4 Titan, and that would be fine. I guess if we get Griefs... Oh, Ragavan. I didn't think they'd be playing Ragavan, but, Yeah, this hand is awful against Ragavan. Oops. We'll lean on Valakut here so we can play turn 2 Explorer. Explorer is actually a pretty decent top deck, not gonna lie. See if they have the turn 2 Blood Moon off of turn 1 Grief Ragavan. They could have it. I mean, even if they do, we could still top deck, you know, the Karn, so. Dalvi, okay. Dalvi is pretty scary too, not gonna lie. Ooh. Instead of Explore, we can play Grazer. We can Explore off of Boseiju, sacrifice a Boseiju just to put Grazer into play. It seems like counterintuitive, though. Man, unfortunately, I think we're supposed to play the Grazer instead so we don't get hit by Ragavan. But losing the draw plus ramp from Explore is pretty annoying. Not gonna lie. I think this is the only play, though. I mean, our draws have been pretty kind. Grazer and Explorer are actually fantastic top decks in this scenario, so definitely blocking the Ragavan as if that was a choice. They could have Fury plus Undying here, and that would be kind of problematic. Land is good for us. Let's just hope they don't make us discard our Titan and then cast against us with their Dalvi. Pyromancer. Only drawing 1 card here, discarding a land. Could be worse. Relic is... It is. It's definitely there. Alright. Yep, we'll play Boseiju. We'll play Relic off the Boseiju and then bounce the Boseiju back using Growth Chambers. We can set up a T-West. And now we are holding up the Relic popping. And we have Titan next turn, so... And we're taking 5 here, but I feel like a Titan probably gets us there. This Dalfi is quite annoying. If they just, like, terminate our Titan and then cast it off Dalfi, we might be in trouble. But, I mean, even then, we might be able to set up Valakut shenanigans with, like, Dryad, so... Magus. Now, that one's quite annoying. That one I don't know that we can beat. Let's go ahead and cycle our Relic here. Get our free bounce land in play, and now we probably just lose to Magus. Cool. I mean, still not going to let Ragavan eat our life total. And now we're just actually dead. Cool. So game 3 here. I mean, the fact that they're playing Magus does confirm that Saga's not that great, but I mean, on the play, Saga potentially pops off for Blood Moon, but not if they have turn 1 Ragavan, so probably trimming another Saga makes sense. Although they showed us Magus and not actual Blood Moon, so Force is probably not quite as good here. Honestly, I'm not really seeing anything that we want to side in over the Saga. So I guess we're just keeping Saga. I guess, no, we want Ballista in our sideboard for Karn. Although maybe having Ballista and Sky Sovereign in the sideboard is kind of redundant, but yeah, this hand's a mulligan for sure. This hand is a turn 2 Karn with double Amulet, so we'll keep it. And I guess we're supposed to bottom the Valakut in the hopes that we can draw a green bounce land and have a potential Titan draw here. We'll see if they have the discard or the turn 1 Ragavan or both. Turn 1 Ragavan. Pretty good. 3rd Amulet, huh? That is quite the thing to have. I guess this means that we can play Sky Sovereign next turn. Definitely picking up the Garrison here and playing Karn. And I think we minus for Sky Sovereign. We're definitely minusing. I guess we could have plussed on an Amulet to block the Ragavan. The Sky Sovereign or Ballista? Because if they just, like, attack us and go turn 2 Magus here, I guess then we can minus for Ballista and play it. I'm going to go for a broke here and just get the Sky Sovereign. Because if they don't play something that we care about, we can Sky Sovereign away their Ragavan and be able to plus Karn on Sky Sovereign to have a blocker / attacker, so... It would have been interesting to plus on Amulet and just plan to chump block Ragavan, but that dies to removal spell. Well, it doesn't die, but... Dalfi, okay. Grief to take nothing that Dalfi can recast, really. I guess they can Dalfi to cast Sky Sovereign, which is... I mean, that kills Karn, so that is pretty annoying, actually. Well, that's unfortunate. Green bounce land lets us cast Titan here. Grazer's not really doing much. Oh, they didn't cast the Sky Sovereign off of the Dowdy. Interesting. All right, we'll plus on an Amulet here, so we have a blocker for the Ragavan. Trading an Amulet for Ragavan is probably a good choice here. Yep, they don't even want to trade, so that works. Any green bounce land, and we don't necessarily win on the spot. Oh, well, now we definitely don't win on the spot. Man, this is just unfortunate. I guess we're playing out Garrison now. Yeah, I think we just can't win from this point. Yeah, this seems like a rough matchup. I say as I'm getting ruthlessly stomped, of course. Having to contend with Magus and potential threats like Douthie and tons of discard and fast, efficient threats like Ragavan, or putting a 3/2 menace into play on turn 1. Seems like a lot to have to contend with. Yeah, I think there's like nothing we can draw here, so I'm just gonna go ahead and scoop it up. Save our opponent the headache. Alright, well that means that we are now 0-1. And let's just jump in here for match 2, and hopefully not get paired against Black-Red, Blood Moon, Mono Discard, Ragavan, just all the stuff. All of that, all the things that deck plays, let's just not play against that. Alrighty, let's hop in here for match 2 on the play. We see turn 1, and we keep getting hands like this where it's like a bunch of lands and a turn 1 Amulet, but like no ramp. It's like, this hand is so awkwardly slow. If we top deck any ramp spell, it's pretty good, but I mean, I feel like we have to keep this, but I don't love it. I really don't. I think we're just going to get our basic forest here to get underneath Blood Moon. And also to increase the likelihood that we draw a ramp spell by a very minuscule percentage. It's small, but 1 out of 100 games, it'll add up, so. Oh no. Oh, please don't say that we're playing against this again. Oh no. Alright, we'll get our Valcut in play and pass. We also managed to miss on a relevant spell, so that's great. Here comes the dash of Ragavan and taking a Dryad or something off the top. This is probably just like Belcher or something. Well, no, I guess with the black land, it would probably be Oops All Spells, which would be good news for us, because like Karn minusing for Tormod's Crypt just like stops them from doing anything. It definitely Oops All Spells here with Pentad Prism. Yep. So Oops All Spells is actually probably a good matchup for this list, specifically because of Karn, which we'll just top deck like an absolute maniac here. I feel good about our spot because Karn the Great Creator makes everything fantastic. Here's Karn, and we'll minus for Crypt, so we can't possibly lose. I guess there's no Simian Spirit Guide, so minusing for Crypt is a little preemptive here, but I mean, I'm doing it. I would not be surprised if our opponent just scooped to Karn and Tormod's Crypt, but you know. Next, we're going to minus for Coding so that we start limiting their mana even more, because Printed Prism is also deactivated, so they could, in theory, play land the 3 mana, like Undercity Informer or whatever it is, which it looks like they might be doing. Yep. Well, I mean, I did say they could do it. I guess we can minus for Pithing Needle and name Informer. And then play a second Karn. I mean, I don't hate that. I feel like that pretty much locks it up. I guess if we're doing that, we're playing Bounce Land, picking up Valakut, which is fine because we still have the 3rd Bounce Land, so yeah, we'll minus for Pithing Needle here. And we'll play Bounce Land, Karn, Pithing Needle. Karn will uptick on not Pentad Prism. Pithing Needle, Undercity Informer. Play Karn. Keep the new Karn. We'll uptick on our nothing, I guess. Don't really want to expose the Amulet to any kind of hate, like a Shatter Skull Smashing, for example. We'll let Karn take the 2 damage. And next turn, we'll be able to play Titan, Hasted Attack, then get Liquid Metal Coating and play it and be able to kill a land. And I think, unless they play a land this turn, we're probably good from here. Talisman, that does nothing. Fantastic. Yep. Yep, Karn makes us have a great matchup against this deck. This entire match is just being completely carried by Karn right now, so... They played Shatter Skull Smashing. Yeah, I feel like there's nothing our opponent can even do here, so... We'll play Bounce Land, play Titan, Haste Attack, get 2 lands, play Liquid Metal Coating post-combat, and on upkeep we'll hit their green source, I guess. I feel like we are golden. Titan will also, thanks to Vigilance, be able to block the Undercity Informer, which is just insult to injury. Imagine if we were playing stupid Hanweir here, and they concede. Well, we just stole game 1 completely off the back of Karn, so that's great. And we get Endurance post-sideboard, so we can do stuff that interacts with the graveyard. We get Relic, which we want to side in, since we have Tormod's Crypta -4 anyways. Explorer is pretty slow against them. Extra Summoner's Pact is probably unnecessary. I feel like we can trim a Summoner's Pact since we have Karns and Titans to play towards. Mainboard Bog doesn't really do anything, although Cavern is really bad, so we'll swap it for... swap it for Boseiju. I guess even Force of Vigor is not bad. It hits their talismans and stuff. I feel like having a couple forces is not a bad idea. So we'll trim another Cavern. And, because they might also have, like... What's the card? Goblin Charbelcher, which we could force. I don't know. Force might be a little too much, though. Maybe we only want, like, 1 force. We'll run it like this. Because luckily for us, Karn hates on their main plan and their Goblin Charbelcher sideboard plan, if they have that, so... I guess Boseiju also kills their land in a way that they can't replace. This is a turn 3 Karn, which honestly I'm pretty okay with. I'm just going to try it. If we draw another Grazer, this is... No, it's still a turn 3 Karn. I guess if we draw exactly Amulet Bounce Land, this is a turn 2 Karn, but we can Boseiju a land to keep up as well, so... Ooh, Saga is a very good one here. Yeah, we'll put Saga into play. And if we feel like we have to Boseiju something, we can do that next turn. We'll have turn 3 Karn regardless, because Vesuva can enter untapped with an Amulet in play. Well, it'll enter tapped and then untap itself, so... Untap Prism. Unfortunately, they have to put it on 1 here. I just realized we can pop Saga off for a Relic as well. We could just Vesuva Saga here, which I don't hate. I guess that's bad against their potential Force of Vigor. So maybe we don't want to go that route. I feel like we do need to Boseiju something here. And the next turn play Karn and minus for a Crypt, and we're probably pretty good. So I feel like this is going to be the play. And we want to Boseiju now. Hit the Prism, I guess, since it can make a color that's not blue. So like they need black for both the Spy and Informer, so... Let's see if they boarded in a basic land. I highly am doubting that, but... I wish we could take the risk of Vesuvaing Urza Saga, but just losing to Force of Vigor is just not something I'm interested in, so... This way we can play Vesuva copying a land and then just top deck a land and be able to play Karn. Or like top deck Bounce Land, perhaps, and be able to play Karn. If they do force the currently existing Saga. Aha! They have nothing. And now we get to resolve Karn, so I feel very good about this. Probably just getting Amulet so we can get our Karn into play here, I think. Vesuva Forest, of course, so we can get that double green action going. Here's a Karn, which we will minus for Crypt, even though it's a little preemptive. I guess playing the Crypt out is also weak to Force, but, I mean, we can't hold on to it, so... Karn turns off their potential Goblin Charbelcher plan as well, so... I feel like this combo right here pretty much locks it up. Always love to play against Oops All Spells when we're playing the Karn version. There we go. We win the match. Like I said, Karning for Tormod's Crypt against this matchup is the 1-2 punch. So, anyways, that means that we are now 1-1, as you can see in the record indicator below. And let's just hop in here for a third match. I'll probably stop on this particular recording for today, but it'll be no different to you guys. Alrighty. Looks like we have been paired on the play. Fantastic. Opponent reveals Obosh, so quite possibly a Blood Moon matchup. But, I mean, we're looking at a triple Amulet Grazer Summoner's Pact hand, so any green bounce line off the top is just a snap win. Otherwise, it's a turn 3 with Saga popping off for Expedition Map, so, I mean, we're definitely keeping this. If they just play, like, turn 1... I guess if they have turn 1 Ragavan, we can play Cavern Naming Beast and Grazer so that they can't just, like, turn 2 Blood Moon us and then just kill them on turn 3, so... Thoughtseize. Okay. Well, now we need to top deck another threat. And just, like, pop Saga off for Expedition Map. Was not expecting basic Swamp out of Obosh, but hey, remember when I said we needed to top deck another threat here? Yeah. I did mean that. And now we just get to play double Amulet and just have lethal this upcoming turn, so... Cool. This is why we play Expedition Map, by the way. Being able to pop Saga off for Expedition Map and set up a bounce land. This comes up somewhat infrequently. Definitely not like as infrequently as, for example, having a double Amulet draw. It's way more common than that, but definitely not in the majority of games. But it does come up that you pop Saga off for Expedition Map, and this is why. No! They have a second Thoughtseize OP. It's broken. Ban it. Alright, we'll just get our Expedition Map here. We may not even be popping Expedition Map at this point. Play our Verdant Catacombs, of course. And, just pass. Because if we draw a bounce land, we might want to map for Talaria West. Whereas if we draw a Talaria West, we would need to map for Simic Growth Chamber, so... Waiting until the last possible second on this map makes the most sense, I think. Of course, if they just play a Blood Moon here, then we can fetch for basic and then map for basic, or map for Boseiju even, I guess, is better. Yep, there's Blood Moon. We'll get our basic forest. And I think we are going to map for Boseiju, probably. Because we're a little too far away from being able to hardcast Titan here. Definitely getting our Boseiju here. Dryad. Alright, we'll just pass. No reason to, I guess, allow them to cast a triple black spell. Geralf's Messenger. Yeah. That's what we're playing around here by holding the Boseiju. I guess also if they played a second Blood Moon, then we'd rather just play the Boseiju as a land and play Dryad. So technically we're playing around second Blood Moon here. Spyro is not the worst thing. Since they're discarding 2 cards to draw 2 cards. I mean, they get to filter a bit, but I'm okay with this. Discard 2 lands. Yeah, I mean, that's definitely helping them for sure. The reason we're holding Grazer here is potentially to play around like a Kolaghan's Command or something. But maybe just playing the Grazer out to play around Ragavan would have been better. I think we Boseiju this now, so if we draw a bounce land or something like that, we can play Dryad. No land with a basic land type, huh? I mean, here's Dryad. Man, a little unlucky to get paired against a second black-red deck, huh? I mean, we're still looking for bounce land and threat. It's pretty much the same as it started. This game brought to you by Urza's Saga for Expedition Map. Definitely feeling very behind, though. And another Blood Moon. I mean, luckily, Karn does not care about Blood Moon, so... I guess we even have Karn's Silex to blow up Blood Moon, which Explosives would not really be able to do here, so... I think I'm taking this block. I don't feel like taking 2 damage for free, so... Stride isn't really doing anything with only 1 basic in play anyways. If we drew exactly basic Forest and Tolaria West, then blocking with the Dryad here punishes us, but... Otherwise, we're just eating up a free Seasoned Pyromancer and 2 damage, so like... Of course, we draw the threat now, but it's not the threat that we would prefer to have here, which would be Karn. Probably just losing this game at this point. Might be about time to throw the Grazer into play. Since we're probably never casting this Titan anyways, we can use Titan as discard fodder. Yeah, having the 3rd Amulet instead of, like, a 4th land drop here is actually pretty annoying. Usually you don't want more than about 2 Amulets. The 3rd Amulet lets you do some crazy things, but 2nd Amulet is, like, the most reliable, consistently crazy thing you can do. 3rd Amulet is typically pretty extra, so... Thoughtseize to take Titan, I guess. They probably should take Grazer here, to be honest. They still take Titan. I would have taken Grazer, but... Because, like, look how far we are from casting Titan. I guess they're worried about us top-decking Bounce Land and, like, 2nd Boseiju, which we could presumably be playing. Definitely playing out our hand here so we don't just get discarded. Top-decking Karn would be decent, although we'd probably lose Karn to combat anyways, but getting Silex would be pretty good. Silex for 3 just wipes their whole board and gets Blood Moon out of play, so looking like a pretty decent game for Silex, actually. Floating a black to unearth Bone Crusher Giant, okay. And that's a 4-power creature, so it's no joke. I think we're supposed to just, absorb the 2 damage from the Grazer here and keep it in play to potentially save a Karn. Karns are only out here, to be honest. Saga, we can't even play thanks to Blood Moon. It'll just die immediately, so we'll hold on to that as discard fodder. Take 9. Next turn we block, take 6, 7. If we block 4, we take 4, 5, 6, 7. We're still dead in 2 turns no matter what we block, so I guess we might as well keep the Grazer in play. Technically saving us an additional 2 points of life. If we get another Grazer or something to block Bone Crusher, we can double block next turn, so... How about the 4th useless Amulet, huh? Oh, we should have played the Amulet to show them that we drew it, but, Alright, side warning against the 2nd Black-Red Blood Moon deck in a row, which we should be good against thanks to the Karn, but, since they showed us the actual Blood Moon, we probably want Forces, although 3 feels like a lot. Maybe 3 is the number that we should be playing, though. Bring in Boseiju. I don't know if Endurance is good against them. They have Unearths and stuff, so I guess it is, but, I mean, like, Relic as well. Especially since we can play this under a Blood Moon anyways. We're cutting Sagas for sure. Probably entirely, to be honest, because Saga is just such a liability against Blood Moon. And trimming on Cavern, I guess. Bog not doing anything. Now we're kind of low on lands, though. Maybe having a 2nd Boseiju in the sideboard just so we can get back up to a reasonable number of lands is a good idea. Gotta cut one card. Grazer's good against Ragavan if they're playing it, which they probably are. We'll just trim another Cavern. Although 26 lands is just so low. I feel like it's still Cavern, though. We would rather have a density of threats to top deck against discard spells, so... being on the play probably makes sense against Blood Moon. Yeah, we'll keep this one. Turn 3 kill if they don't disrupt us. We get to play turn 1 Amulet through discard since we're on the play. So, yeah, definitely a keep. Amulet, go. See if they have Shattering Spree. Or Grief plus Rebound spell, or whatever the like Rebirth. Malakir Rebirth. Ooh, turn 1 Mountain. Ragavan. We will block that one. Yep. I will block. Ooh, we have a relic we can play for value here even. Mwah. Perfect. Here's a Dryad and a Vestige into Relic. And we even get to hold up the popping of Relic since we can use the mana we float here off the Vestige to play it. That's value. We'll just go ahead and exile their card now. No reason to leave cards in the bin. We'll just give them more options for their upcoming turn. It's not like we can exile any particular card out of their graveyard anyway, so. If they attack with Ragavan, I will block. Blocking is better than getting immediately Blood Mooned, so. Although, I guess if they block and we just play Dryad and they Blood Moon us anyways, it's like not going to be great for us regardless, so maybe it's right to just take the hit and... Oh, they don't attack? They don't even offer us the option. That's kind of wild, to be honest. Let's get Titan into play. Seems like a plan. Probably not going for the haste here, as losing to Terminate plus Blood Moon seems non-ideal, to say the least. I don't know, though. Because, like, if they do terminate our Titan and we just get double forest here, like, we have to top deck another threat. Like, maybe that's fine, but... Maybe we're supposed to get a single basic and Valakut here and just start triggering Dryad. I don't hate that. We have another Dryad in hand if we need to play around Blood Moon, so... Yeah, I don't feel inclined to do anything else here other than Relic them. Don't want to attack because then they can block plus Bolt. Don't want to play second Dryad because then Blood Moon locks us out, whereas second Dryad will let us tap all of our lands for green again and potentially unlock a Titan as a top deck. I'm not scared of this Ragavan, so... Here comes Fetch for basic Swamp and play a Blood Moon, and then we'll cycle Relic. I guess holding the Dryad in hand also makes us better against, like, if we top deck Force of Vigor. Fetch, Shock, Blood Crypt. Okay. Seasoned Pyramids, Blood Moon. So they do have the Blood Moon. So we're playing around this for sure. Let's go ahead and cycle. Actually, there's no reason to cycle now, so we'll just let it go. Yeah, I think they're just going to die with Blood Moon in play. Karn also is good against Blood Moon, so speaking of the devil, yep, we'll untap. Oh, we're losing to the Summoner's Pact. I guess that was a reason to get double Forest. Oops. I forgot about that one. I didn't realize that we packed it for Titan. Well, that happened. I guess we were supposed to get double Forest like I had intended. Well, we are now 1-2, and you could blame that one all on me. I should have thought about the possibility of getting Blood Moon there, as it's really the only way we lost there. You know what? You know, at least I can demonstrate that you got to be thinking about that sort of thing on screen, and I will see you guys for Game 4. Alrighty, it looks like we're in here for Match 4. on the play. Fantastic. Definitely take that. We have a turn 3 Explore hand. Yeah, no thank you. Well, we get a turn 1 Grazer into Saga. We don't have a bounce land. If we top deck a bounce land, then we can use Saga to get Amulet. We could also just like lead on Boseiju, Grazer into Valakut, and then play Saga Dryad on turn 2, which I don't hate, and then we can start getting Saga value on turn 3 and turn 4 if we miss on lands for Karn/Titan. Definitely keeping. You have to put one of these on the bottom. I think it's just going to be the Karn, to be honest. This feels like a good Titan hand. I think I'm going to Grazer in the Valakut as well. I feel like going for the Saga value plan is going to be better here since we're going to need an extra turn or so just to try to top deck the things that we're missing anyways. So we do have an extra bounce land in the list as well as a Crumbling Vestige. So being able to, especially against Black Leaf Cliffs, by the way, getting Saga value seems like it could be important if we're playing against like discard spells and Lilianas and stuff. Fury to kill Grazer, and I'm assuming they're going to, put it back into play with an Undying Evil or something like that. I mean, it's a 3/3 double striker, so like it's a fast clock, don't get me wrong. We're going to be able to chump block with some Saga tokens. Maybe get to Valakut to just kill either the Fury or our opponent, so it'll be interesting. Hopefully we top deck a land to go with our turn 3 Dryad here, so our turn 2 Dryad here. Yep, they do have the Feign Death to bring their Fury back into play. I mean, okay. Ooh, it's a 4/4 double strike as well. That's actually pretty sick. We do find the land as well, so that's good. Now we're just missing any 2 lands or a single bounce land. We'll play the T-West and pass. Definitely not blocking with Dryad if we can afford it. Hoping to dodge a Grief or discard spell for a Titan. Which they might have let on if they had it. If they dash a Ragavan here, obviously we would block, so that wouldn't make any sense. Especially since our Dryad dies to second Fury anyways. Terminate, okay. We are going to make chump blockers, though. Hopefully our Titan races their Fury. Just going to pass through the turn here. I mean, this Fury is a very fast clock. Thoughtseize to take Titan. Very sad. Looking somewhat rough. We'll make our chump blocker here, for sure. See if they want to kill it. Have a Fatal Push or something. Lightning Bolt, sure. Okay. Well, it's now or never. Oh, we found an Amulet. So if we float with Saga, get map, play Amulet, crack for bounce land, there's really nothing we can do. I guess if we get second Amulet and explore into bounce land, we can play Amulet, bounce land for up to 5, bounce land up to 9. So I guess we just have to top deck Simic Growth Chamber here. That's the way. All right, deck, show me one Simic Growth Chamber off the top. That ain't it. That is not it, deck. All right. I guess we could have made a token there and like tried to buy an extra turn and like do another chump block, but we're probably just dead to removal spell there anyways. So maybe throwing away that chance just to try to get lucky and spike exactly what we need off the top is not the move. But man, these black-red Undying decks are crazy popular nowadays. It must have won something. Well, there's really no way to know if they're on Blood Moon or Mages or both, so I'm not sure about Force here. Endurance to stop the Undying shenanigans seems possibly pretty good. Same with Relic for the same reason. We don't want Cavern here. We don't really need Bog. Just cut Cavern entirely. I don't think, despite their Blood Moon effects, that we want to cut Saga, perhaps. I'm not really sure on that. I think having the consistency of setting up Amulet or Map for us will be pretty nice. I mean, if we just get turn 2 Magus by Ragavan hits, that'll be pretty unfortunate, but not much we can do about that. And then I guess we're trimming... I mean, trimming a Grazer against a potential Ragavan does not seem like the move. Maybe it's just trimming a Karn, because, like, Karn is not good enough in the face of, like, Furies and, you know, the menace on their Grief if they get to keep one of those in play. So actually keeping Karn in play is going to be difficult. Karn is mainly here as a way for us to get around Blood Moon, so maybe just having 3 is fine. Just be on the play. Just testing out different methods until we can figure out what works against this deck. We'll keep the turn 1 Grazer into Saga hand. So we'll play Forest. Grazer. I guess maybe we should have led on Vestige so we could activate Saga at instant speed, but I didn't think about that. Technically better. It'll be worse against Fury, for example, if we play Vestige and just activate Saga here, so. That said, if we find Amulet off the top, then we're golden. Agadim, of course. Grief pitching Dowdy. Well, they're only going to be able to take 1 card here, so. Yeah, imagine if we were playing Karn against this. We only have 0 ways to block it currently in play, despite having a Grazer, so. Yep, and they are going to Undying, so. Well. It was not my intention to play against mono black-red decks for the entire league. 3 times in 1 league, huh? Endurance is a card. A little late on that one. Well, I guess we're just making our construct value. Theoretically, if we played Endurance, we could trade with Grief, but by, like, double blocking. I guess that's better than waiting until we have another card in hand as well. I don't know, though. It's like leaving our value on the table here because we could activate Saga. It's also worse against the second Grief or something, though, if we don't Endurance. I feel like we're supposed to make the token here. It's just the feeling that I get. I don't think we need to trade with this Grief imminently and also play into removal spell by just hard casting this Endurance, so. Because, like, if we cast Endurance and they, like, Fury it or Terminate or something, then we're just getting completely owned. So doing it this way means that we'll have relevant blockers. They're fetching for basics. I don't like that. Don't like that. I'm glad we're going to get this Saga to pop off before they get a Blood Moon in play, though. Turok is not really that threatening to me. Well, if we had a Titan hero, we'd be able to get Amulet and just go ham, but we don't. We can make a token, get Amulet, play Simic, Grazer, Simic, Transmute T-West, and then next turn, if we top deck, there's nothing, I guess we'd have, even top deck and second Amulet doesn't do it there. We could, I don't think we'll have enough green to play Endurance and Grazer here. I think we're just doing the transmuting thing. I don't know, maybe we're not even supposed to transmute. Do we just get Expedition Map here? That seems kind of crazy. Relic is not the worst either, just giving us a redraw, but I feel like maybe Amulet's better than Relic. Guess if we put in Growth Chamber, pick up the Vestige, put in Vestige, then we'll have 4 mana next turn. I don't know. I feel like it's supposed to be Amulet, but maybe Relic is better here. I'm gonna go with Amulet, I think. Maybe we just play T-West and don't even play the Grazer here. If we play T-West, then that means that we'll lose access to bounce land in hand. I don't know. If we transmute, then we just get owned by Grief. But I don't think we really have a choice. There's nothing we can really top deck, but it's better to get this out of the way so that, like, next turn we could potentially play Endurance. And if we fade the discard spell, then this will be better. Otherwise, I don't know. Definitely keep bounce land in hand here, though. This grows the Turok. I did forget about that. Yep, we'll just get... I mean, we could get Urza Saga here. It's not the craziest thing in the world. That's really bad against potential Blood Moon. I mean, Pact is not great either against Blood Moon, but... I'm just going to go for Pact. Try to fade the discard spell. We'll not attack here, so we could potentially double block Grief. Which would not be fantastic against an Undying spell, but... They've only used one Undying spell as well, so... If they have Blood Moon. I will double block the Grief. It'll be sad if they happen to have a way to kill one of our tokens, but I don't think we can play around it. And it'll save us more life in the long run by being able to double block Grief with the Grazer and then block Turok later, so... If they do Undying here, with a trigger on the stack, we're probably supposed to Endurance. K-Command. Yep, that one is pretty unfortunate. Yeah, that punishes, like, everything. Slayers. I mean, we can just pack for Dryad now, I guess. I think it's the only play, and we just lose to Blood Moon. But I don't think that we really have a choice. Otherwise, this pack is doing nothing, so we're just going to hope they don't have it. This game is not playing out the way I envisioned. We gotta ramp somehow, though. Just don't Blood Moon us. You don't want to do it, opponent. For the record, whether this was a Summer's Pact or a Urza Saga, if our opponent has Blood Moon here, neither would have been good, so... And we played around Thoughtseize by just packing now, so... Turok is a 4-3. We'll double block Grief as intended. Get to keep a Grazer to block Turok another day. I guess we can also use Stronghold so that our creatures are going to trade. Or even to get in for 4 damage before. Oh, they have Terminate now also. Okay. Well, we're not dead. We're, like, very close to dead. Relic. I mean, I guess we can play that. Which we will do. And target them, I guess. I don't really know what gets us out of this, to be honest. Chump Blocker will buy us time to potentially pop Relic. Exactly 1 turn of time, that is. We have no choice but to block here, so we don't just immediately lose to Bolt. Which they would have used on the Grazer, possibly? No, probably not. Yeah, I don't know. Necromentia. Sure. Man, this deck, it feels like it's designed to beat Amulet Titan, you know what I mean? Necromentia, Kolgan's Command, all the discard. Wow. Karn would not do anything here. I guess we could Karn uptick on our Relic, block, and the next turn minus for, like, something. We'll pop Relic. Grazer lets us be not dead, so there's that. Pick up the Crumbling. And I guess to play around Kolaghan's command, I mean, we're dead to Kolaghan's command regardless, since we just take 4 here. So, like, there's really is no playing around Kolaghan's command, so we'll just actually play out the Vestige. I don't even think a Titan is good enough at this point. Dalthy Voidwalker. Yeah, I don't think there's anything that really gets us out of this at this point. Surviving at 1. And Saga. And we're dead. Well, just face black-red 3 times and lose all 3 times seems pretty good. Yeah, let's update the record real quick. All right, let's hop back in here for match 5 and get paired against black-red again. If you have tips for me to play better against black-red, then let me know in the comments below, because obviously I'm in the market for them, so. Alrighty. Final match. At least we're still on the play. Playing against Seth Mist. And we have a decent hand. It's a little slow, but we will keep. We get to play a turn 3 Dryad, possibly a turn 3 Karn if we want. Fascinating hand, for sure. Leading on Valakut, of course. Bang, into play. Our opponent will think we're on red-green Titan Shift. The Zagoth Triome. Interesting. Play Amulet. So this is not one of the mountain Triomes, so it's probably not like a creativity deck. We are going to Vesuva their Triome, of course. Second Karn is interesting. Sacred Foundry. So all 5 colors. So this is just like Domain Zoo or possibly Calibrated Blast. So if we play Dryad into Land Grazer, we can Karn as well. Seems pretty decent. Of course, we're going to reset the Vesuva here so we can copy Bounce Land. I don't think that we're ever going to be able to deal with this Scion of Draco using Karn Silex. I just don't think that's ever realistically happening, so. I guess the question of what we're doing with Karn is a good question. I'm not really sure what we're supposed to get here. We have Titan next turn anyway, so it's like not like it really matters. Here's Karn. Look at our sideboard for a second here. I guess getting coding is potentially interesting. We could lose our Karn to like a... I mean, we're losing Karn to Tribal Flames anyways, but like a Bolt or something would kill Karn if we minus right now and get coding. But getting coding will potentially stop them from casting Calibrated Blast or like a Flashback perhaps, if that's what they're on. So I think eventually getting coding is a good idea. The next turn we play Titan... I mean, if we're playing Titan next turn, I think we're just killing them. I think it's okay to -2 here, because if they're dealing with the Karn at all, then that means they're not probably dealing with the Titan, and the Titan plus Dryad thing will just kill them, so I'm just going to go ahead and straight up minus for coding and pass. And just try to keep them off of Calibrated Blast mana, and if we can afford to do that, then we should be pretty good. Scalding Tarn. We're getting blasted. There are ways for us to lose here. If they have a way to stop us from getting our Titan out, and if we, like, coding a land and blow it up with Karn, and then they just have third land, second Calibrated Blast or something. Like, if they go Blast here, and then next turn just have the second copy, we could potentially be in trouble. But I think we should have them here, I think. Although we have Vesuva in hand, which is a little awkward, not gonna lie. General Ferris. That one is not gonna do it. That one is most certainly not going to do it. We'll just block to save Karn because we like Karn. How about the third Karn? How about that? Yeah, I think our opponent is just dead. The only thing we need to be really considering here is if we're playing this as a copy of Valakut or not. So if we play Valakut, we get Boros Slayer's attack gets second Valakut fetch land. I think that should be lethal. On the other hand, if we leave a white floating, haste off Valakut Slayer's attack, get just any 2 lands. Also, Valakut fetch land. That way we would have 2 Valakuts. So 4 triggers, 5/6 is still lethal. I think it doesn't really matter. I'm just going to copy the Valakut, I guess. I think it really doesn't matter either way, so we'll go ahead and get our Slayer Stronghold and Boros Garrison. I guess we could have gotten Crumbling Vestige here. Better to have land in hand, actually, I think, but we'll pick up the bounce land as well. We'll just attack them with this. Yeah, I don't really see a reason to expose the Dryad, so we'll get Valakut and fetch land, and this also lets us just pay for pack this upcoming turn, so. And we win. Cool. So General Ferris and Scion. More likely to be a Zoo deck, I think. Since they have Scion, Force is pretty interesting. I don't think they'll have Blood Moon effects. Boseiju makes sense. This is not really a fantastic Karn matchup, as we just saw. Yeah, I think maybe this is not the Karn matchup that we're looking for. I mean, they could have Magus, potentially. Which I guess we can just bring in Ballista Sky Sovereign for, but I don't know, that seems, like, weakish. Maybe having Ballista is fine, since it potentially kills one of their threats. I don't know. I guess I'd actually rather just have a couple Karns, but just call it. Endurance doesn't seem particularly great. Yeah, I think we'll just call it like this. Karn's definitely not fantastic in this matchup, but we don't really have anything to bring in. Like, if we had copies of Dismember in the sideboard, then we'd perhaps bring those in. This hand has Titan mana, but it's very, very slow. I think we can safely mulligan. This hand's not fantastic either. I think we're mulliganing again. We're going to get owned by Force if our opponent has Force, but... Yep, I mean, we'll keep this. Bottom packed Karn. I don't know, maybe Karn's... There's no way Karn can be our plan here, right? I don't think so. I don't really know what our plan is. We don't really have the resources. If we were to top deck Bounce Land or Amulet, then maybe we have kind of an idea, but... Valakut. Yeah, we'll play Valakut. Next turn we'll play Map, and then turn 3 you can play Dryad, perhaps. If we draw a land or not. That'll inform our decision. Yep, there's Kavu. Well, it's a good thing we bought him to Karn, I guess. We'll play our map here and pass. Yeah, this is a pretty dorky-looking hand against what our opponent's got going on. I mean, they literally just played a turn 2 threat. That's it, but our hand is just abnormally slow. Maybe we should have gone to 4. I don't know. Seems kind of crazy. Shardless Agent. Cascading into Tribal Flames. Okay. They're kind of doing it over there. We can Boseiju to kill their Shardless Agent. Yep. We drew the land, so probably just playing Dryad here. It's not like we have Castle Garandrig that we can draw, but I guess if we draw any land, we can play land, map for bounce land, and get a Valakut trigger. Definitely name Giant here regardless. I guess if we draw bounce land, we can like map for Valakut and then play bounce land and get double Valakut trigger, which would be pretty good. Wonder if our opponent can deal with the Dryad here. A Path Dryad. Okay, so any untap land lets us just cast Titan now. Might be too slow at this point. I think we might be able to survive at 1 if they don't have another threat here. or a burn spell. I mean, we've managed to have a turn 4 Titan potentially regardless, so thanks to our opponent's Path to Exile, of course. Oh, Tribal Flames. Yeah, so we're just dead. Cool. Well, let's just not mulligan to 5 to a dysfunctional hand this time, I guess. Yeah, I just feel like hitting submit, so... Oh, Bog is actually bad. We should be boarding that out, but... Yes, we'll be on the play. Yeah, this hand's not great. We'll mulligan. There we go. This is the hand we're looking for. Now we just need to top deck that threat, and we'll be good. We'll definitely keep this bottom of the cavern. Lead on... Guess Slayers? It doesn't really matter. Leading on Slayers is better if we draw a second Amulet and, like, Titan or something like that, so... Flooded Strand. And pass. Okay. Well, we'll definitely play a Dryad here. And now that we have T-West, we may not necessarily have a threat next turn, but we definitely have a threat for turn 4. So I'll take it. It's good to know our opponent has Path to Exile here. Well, maybe not specifically like right now, but they have it like in general. You know what I mean. I don't know. I mean, if they did have Path, I mean, I wouldn't mind the extra land. Kavu, perhaps? Renin 6. Yeah, I don't care about that one even slightly, so... I mean, I probably will attack it, but... of course we draw the Bog. I mean, Bog is randomly relevant against their Renin 6 right now, which is a thing that's happening. I mean, we'll definitely transmute here. Play Dryad. Play Simic. So in case they had a force, we still get to transmute here. Just pick up Simic. We'll play Bog and target them. Just to get the land in play. And we'll transmute. Get Summoner's Pact and have lethal next turn. And clock the Ren. We don't even need to think about leaving Bog in our hand for Bog value against the Renin 6, since the Renin 6 will be very dead very soon. If not our opponents being very dead very soon. And the funny thing is, we can actually, like, just get double Valcut off of our Titan here, and they have to answer both Dryads and the Titan. So... I guess we're just hoping they don't destroy our Amulet, because that would set us back a little bit, but... Like, I guess if they had, like, Wear and Tear, it would be kind of annoying here, but... Even then, it wouldn't really be the end of the world. Scion, I'm not afraid of. They didn't leave white mana up for, representing Path, so... They minus and bolt to Dryad. You're still dead, opponent. Still dead, but I appreciate the effort. I guess they could be, like, sandbagging a force here and hoping that we just go all in on the Dryad plan, which I probably am still doing anyways, despite the fact that I know that it might potentially cause us problems down the line. I'm pretty sure our opponent's just dead. Especially since we have backup Titan. Pick up the Bog here. Get double Valakut and haste off of Slayer's Stronghold. Oh no! I can't make a white with Valakut. What am I gonna do? Bang. Haste Titan. Go to combat. We'll just attack them. Yup. And we'll just get... Talari West. And Vesuva copying Bounce Land. And then we should still have lethal with a Titan trample damage, so we'll just send all the Valkuts upstairs. I think our opponent's dead. Cool. All right, so we managed to steal the last game and end up 2-3, which admittedly is not the best record, but that's not really what we're here for anyways. We're here to test the cards, and we did see some situations where Karn minusing for Silex was like relevant, but the fact that it entered tapped, for example, was going to put us a turn off of being able to activate it. The fact that it's 3 to play, as well as the activation, did come up a little bit. Like, there are times where we could have minus for Silex and it would have been all right, but it would have been slow. Whereas if you were to minus for engineered explosives, you don't get X or less, but you can pop explosives the same turn that you play it and not have to wait a turn. I feel like that can be relevant, but honestly, we didn't really play matchups where Silex would be particularly good. So, I don't know. Jury's still out on that one. As far as Karn, I will say, just in general, I'm not a huge fan of the Karn package. I think that Karn is a little, off plan, to be honest. Like, we're threatening to cast turn 3 Titans here, and we've got a bunch of clunky 4-drops that don't actually help us get to Titan. We're just hoping that our opponent will have to spend their resources on Karn, but the truth is, if the opponent is already ahead of us, then dealing with Karn is not that terribly difficult, especially since we don't really have any board presence. We get to, like, chump block with Grazer, so I'm not the biggest fan of Karn in general, so I don't know. Let that be what it is, and I don't know. Let me know if you guys want to see me play this list again, since we really did not get to see Karn's Silex in action. Let me know if there is any changes you'd want to see as well. And, what can I say? We just lost to 3 black-red decks with Blood Moons and lots of discard and disruption, and won against the other decks that we played against. So maybe next time we won't play against so much of that particular matchup, and we'll get a more representative league. But anyways, let me know in the comments below if that's something that you would like to see, and yeah, I'll see you guys in the next league. This is Red Face Menace, signing off.